Hey guys, it's OriginalAndyB, and I wanted to give my thoughts and feelings about the recent Battlefield 2042 beta and the wave of feedback I've seen over YouTube, Twitter, and Reddit over the past week. The flood of new content is inspiring, but the community seems to be a bit scattered with the consensus on the final verdict. Originally, I was planning to make this good, the bad, and the ugly video for the beta after my first day playing it, but with the beta now being done for a couple of days, it's given me more time to think about it after the fact, and I think it's a more appropriate time to make a final analysis. First and foremost, after a year plus of jumping around from game to game, trying to find something to scratch the itch that Battlefield left me with, I have to say the 2042 beta with bugs and all was the most fun I've had in a multiplayer experience in a long time. Without further ado, let's get into it. The core gameplay loop of 2042 brings back that true sandbox feel that was somewhat lacking in Battlefield 5. The world of 2042 is something I'm really excited about diving back into come November. The gunplay felt quick and snappy, with a pretty quick TTK. It kept me on my toes when entering a new gunfight or entering into an enemy objective area. I also really enjoyed the movement system. It feels like a more refined Battlefield 5, smooth, flexible, and quick. I like the addition of the super sprint, although the fact that you can run full sprint unlimited seems a little off. Maybe they'll tweak this upon release, we will have to wait and see. This style of movement really meshes well with the near future setting of 2042. I don't think a movement system like that of Battlefield 3 or 4 would work here, as it's a little slower and clunkier, and the gaming ecosystem of 2021 compared to that of 2011 and 2013 is so massively different. I've seen a lot of people saying it's just copying Call of Duty, but I really think it's just keeping up with ever-changing industry trends. I love the scale of 2042. While for Conquest with round after round of the same mode on the same map in the beta, I feel like it may have gotten a little predictable of what would happen. The overall feel and rhythm of the map was great. While I would tend to agree that some areas between major capture points are a bit of a barren no man's land with nothing going on at most times, the diversity of the environment from the more open, flatter areas of C by the water to the tower of B next to D1 and 2 and E with the rocket created some scenarios for all different playstyles. There's plenty of space to be a sniper if you wanted to do that, or run with an assault rifle, or even an SMG. I thought the plus system was great, especially now knowing you'll be able to pick attachments before spawning. The ability to modify your attachments in the fly gives this new level of flexibility within one life that's great for maps with diverse combat environments. This felt like a true sequel to Battlefield 4, in that it's a modern or near future setting, with all the vehicle options, weapons, and gadgets. The creative direction for Battlefield 2042 seems clear and seems fully realized by DICE with this dark near future setting. Everything from the UI, the effects on the HUD when you approach the storm, and the general color palette of the environment being almost a bit oversaturated, just owning this near future world that 2042 is. Certain selling points of the game, such as the tornado, weather effect, and the rocket launch or explosion, seemed really polished and buttoned up. I love flying a helicopter and parachuting straight into a tornado just to see what would happen. I think the addition of these storms that spawn randomly is a great feature. Other elements seemed lacking, like miscellaneous textures, which will obviously get buttoned up before launch. As much fun as I had in the beta, there were a fair number of issues that seemed glaring. EA kind of contradicted themselves by stating in a public forum, "Our open beta was branched from our full release client a few months ago, and polished and improved to provide a great snapshot of the full experience." My concern with this is why delay the beta from the initial September window when the build itself was a few months old? Maybe to keep the beta and the release date within the same timeline of each other so that hype doesn't die down from the beta until release? But if the beta is pushed back to polish it, why were there so many issues that were so glaring? One being audio design. The audio, for me at least, sounded really good when firing my own weapon, but the audio of the environment around me seemed really lacking. I couldn't hear enemy footsteps or incoming enemy fire, clearly leaving me unable to pinpoint where to look when knowing enemies were nearby. DICE has a history of having incredible audio design in their titles, so this should just be an issue with the beta, and hopefully they can tweak it before launch. I also noticed an issue where gunfire was desyncing with audio. It was really distracting and would sometimes result in my own death because shots weren't registering, and that's a big deal. One other area of concern that I've noticed a lot of other people talking about were the specialists. I know that getting rid of the traditional class system that we've all come to know and love was a bit controversial in the beginning, but I wanted to enter into this with an open mind. I do like the specialists. I do like the ability to choose whatever gun with whatever specialist you're running, but the problem is that the same specialists on different teams both look exactly the same. The only indicator is above their heads with a little teal dot or a red dot indicating friend or enemy. This should definitely be tweaked with either a colored armband, some kind of uniform change, maybe the whole uniform itself being like green for the Americans or gray for the Russians. Just something to visually determine whether it's a friend or enemy on the spur of a moment without having to wait for the indicator to load to make that call. Now more into the ugly of it. A visual bug I noticed game after game was a seeming shadow over large portions of the map popping in and out almost frame by frame. I'm sure this is just some weird graphical artifacting, but this should be refined upon launch. And then going back to the plus system, for me at least, when selecting a grip type, for example, in the plus system, it would then switch out the sight attachment too. And then upon dying, if I was running with the M5 hybrid sight, it wouldn't let me then toggle between the ACOG and the red dot until I would switch the sight out and then switch it back. Stuff like this is just kind of right in your face and annoying. But again, I'm kind of attributing this to being an old build and a beta nonetheless. Some elements of the UI I think really need to be refined. The hierarchy of objective points are all the same regardless of your proximity to them. In previous titles, objective indicators of points closer to you were more prominent on screen, like if objective A was 20 meters and then objective C was 300 meters. The A indicator would have been hierarchically bigger on screen, with further objectives being either smaller in size or with more opacity, just to indicate which is closer to you and which you should pay more attention to. The compass rose only being apparent when aiming down sight is a bit of a miscall for me too, same with your weapon's rate of fire. These elements need to be displayed at all times when running around trying to give directional callouts to your squad and friends. I don't want to have to ADS to see what direction I'm looking, and I don't want to ADS to see what fire rate I'm in. Fire rate only being shown when aiming down sights can confuse a player if they switch to single shot to kill an enemy at distance and then have a more close quarters engagement following. This has happened to me a couple times, and I only forgot my gun was in single shot and died cursing myself. All that aside, I really enjoyed my time with the Battlefield 2042 beta, and in the days following its ending, I've been eager to get back into 2042's different modes, particularly Breakthrough, Portal, and Hazard Zone, which is being revealed tomorrow. The weeks leading to launch are sure to be full of excitement and little tidbits of information from DICE about the remaining specialists and game modes we don't know about, and more of the lore of 2042. What were your thoughts on the beta, and thoughts about leading to launch? What was your favorite specialist to use? Comment below any of your thoughts about anything going on in the world of Battlefield. Subscribe for more, and thank you guys for watching.